Korean director Lee Chang-dong's 2010 film, aptly titled Poetry, acts as such a beautifully moving and deeply realistic meditation on the inherently intersectional and devastating nature of both Alzheimer's disease as well as sexual assault within contemporary Korean society, which is further underscored by actress Yoon Jong-hee's emotionally intricate and incredibly nuanced performance. The film intertwines two distinct and complex narratives, the tragic story and suicide of a young girl named Agnes, or Heejin, as well as the main journey of a 66-year-old grandmother named Yang Mija as she grapples with onset dementia. The troubling circumstances regarding how these two seemingly disparate narratives collide are revealed within Agnes's written diary, which implicates Mija's grandson as part of a group of young schoolboys who sexually assaulted her repeatedly, driving her to take her own life by jumping off of a bridge down into the river below. Throughout the film, Mija's actions and decisions in response to her disturbed grandson's abhorrent behavior epitomizes the movie's inherent portrayal of contemporary Korean society, particularly how it acts as both a critical indictment of the manipulative and predatory nature of male entitlement, as well as a soulful window into the experiences and implications of those afflicted by mental illness and sexual assault. Within the article An Insider's View of Alzheimer, Cinematic Portrayals of the Struggle for Personhood, by Amir Cohen-Shalev and Esther Lee Marcus, both authors posit that most representations of AD within popular media tend to construct this negative portrait of dementia as utterly mindless and disturbingly monstrous, often focusing on the protagonists surrounding the character with dementia, such as their caretakers or their relatives. Early on in the film, Mija's early stages of Alzheimer's are conveyed via how she forgets simple words and phrases every now and then. These symptoms prompt her to take up poetry classes as both a burgeoning passion as well as a way to exercise the mind, further cementing Yang Mija, a character with dementia, as the definite main protagonist of this innovative narrative. As she's further subjected to more complex and morally ambiguous situations and hardships, mainly concerning the consequences of her irresponsible grandson's actions, her quest for poetic inspiration never fails, culminating in a denouement where Mija finally finds her voice, one that speaks for both herself as well as young Agnes. Poetry also notably lacks a musical score, forsaking the overly sentimental and melodramatic aspects which are stereotypically associated with mental illness and dementia in favor of conveying the gentle sounds of a flowing river, the subtle ambiance of chirping birds and crying cicadas, the soft rustling of leaves in the wind, and the soft-spoken voice of a lost soul. Director Lee Chang-dong shatters conventional depictions of dementia within the film industry by demonstrating how Mija, afflicted by Alzheimer's, is not mindless, helpless, or vacuous, but often displays agency, thoughtfulness, and passion within her everyday life. As the article puts it, dementia is presented here as a condition, not in juxtaposition with normal life, but conjoined to it. In other words, Alzheimer's is looked upon here as a state of mind, rather than its common perception as a form of mindlessness.
시를 쓰는 게 어려운 게 아니라 시를 쓰겠다는 마음을 갖는 게 어려워요. 시를 쓰는 마음. 어쨌든 양미자 씨는 이 자리에 없지만 어떤 시를 썼는지 한번 보기로 하죠. 내가 대신 읽어보겠습니다. 제목은 아네스의 노래. 아네스의 노래. 양미자.
In the film's final moments, we learn that Mija was the only one in the class to successfully compose a poem, which she ends up dedicating entirely to Agnes. Along with demonstrating her dedication and capability even with her mental illness, the poem, Agnes's Song, acts as an inherently intersectional meditation, a personal indictment of male violence against vulnerable women in Korea, yet also a celebration of the beauty and fragility of all human life. Throughout the film, there persists a permeating sense of male entitlement, ranging from the initial sexual violence from the schoolboys against Agnes, as well as where the fathers of the boys coerce, force, and manipulate a dementia-stricken Mija into contributing hush money to the victim's family in order to cover up the incident and exempt their sons, a plan which is alarmingly supported by both the police and the school. Director Lee Chang-dong does this in order to critique and elucidate problematic gender roles within contemporary Korea, and by having Mija eventually turn her grandson into the police, he effectively argues for a deconstruction of male entitlement and privilege within Korean society. Elena Lazick, within her online article discussing film depictions of sexual violence, discusses how the film industry often merely presents an act of rape without exploring its consequences on the victim, which, she argues, should no longer be good enough. Offering a deeply intersectional view of mental illness, gender, and culture within contemporary Korean society, poetry deconstructs these industry conventions and goes even further by utilizing its final, heartrending poem as a means to express the inexpressible, to convey unfathomable and profound emotions and sentiments, imploring us as an audience to be more empathetic and understanding of others, in a world otherwise ruled by cruelty and apathy.
만날 수 있기를